Yeah, okay, whenever you're ready.
Are you recording then?
Yep.
All right. You ready, Izzy?
Ready.
All right. This is another episode of Jab Journals, everybody. We're still here at New Way Boxing Center. We're here with another one of the coaches, Coach Izi Curtis. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing good. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for taking your time. You know, you guys have had a crazy couple weeks moving in here. You know what I mean? But it's a beautiful new facility. You guys happy with the move and how everything turned out?
Yes. We had a great help with everyone. It was pretty overwhelming, all the help that we had. So everything went together very quickly, and so we appreciate everyone that made this very quick.
Now the first spot we met you guys at, how long? You guys have been there for quite a while, right?
Like 10 years.
10 years. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a bitter thing, or not bittersweet thing to move to a new place. But now you were sharing the gym with another, and now you guys are on your own.
Yes.
Do you feel like that'll help you guys like moving forward, just less headaches?
I don't know, no less headaches. Just might be easier to stay more focused in our specialties, you know, and that way each team could be successful in their own way and their own focus.
Yeah. Now, we talked prior to your husband Bobby, who's another one of the co-owners with you of New Way. What role do you take on in the gym? What classes do you teach, and how do you fit into New Way?
So I teach boxing, jiu-jitsu. I do personal training for some clients. I do a lot of private sessions for clients, boxing and jiu-jitsu. I do recovery for the athletes and my other clients. I also do the strength and conditioning for the athletes.
Okay. So
a little bit of everything.
Now, you've been around fighting for quite some time now, right?
Yes.
How did you kind of get into it?
Eventually, so started with just boxing for fitness, and then one thing led to another. A joke was made that we should open our own gym, and then we finally did. And then I wasn't big into the fighting sports, you know. Back then, I thought it was all barbaric, and I'm like, I can't believe people watch, you know, this kind of thing and watch people bleed, and I just thought it was barbaric, and I was appalled by it at first. And then once I got into the world and Bobby started bringing me into the corners for the fighters and everything, I started really digging the vibe. I understood it more. You know, I understood that the people are boxing, they're fighting because they're getting experience. It's not just about entertainment for the other person, other people watching. It is, but also, you know, they're getting to put themselves out there to work on what they have been training and apply it realistically and get to challenge themselves. And I realized that, and I started really to enjoy that aspect of it. And as I watched people progress, it got really exciting, and I started loving the world of fighting because I know what goes into it. And then I eventually, you know, I hadn't been able to fight myself because I had some vestibular issue in my ear. So I had vertigo really bad. Once I got it figured out, I took on my first boxing fight at 40. And
better late than never.
I loved it. I had wished I could do it early, you know, had I figured out the ear issue sooner. But, you know, it is what it is. And when I did it. I understood finally, you know, what it took to make a camp. I could now not just talk the game, but, you know, I live the game, you know, and I fight when I can. And, you know, I compete in jiu-jitsu too. So I understand what goes into all of it now.
Yeah. Do you feel like that experience of experiencing your first fight, and you say you compete in jiu-jitsu, do you feel like it helps you in your coaching career now? Like,
absolutely.
As far as like guiding people through a training camp?
Because then I know from a athlete aspect what needs to be done for like the strength and conditioning. I know what it takes for the mental aspect, you know, so I'm not just saying like, you know, toughen up, work through it. I know what it takes, and I can apply encouragement, but also tips on how can you get there mentally too.
Yeah. You know, you've seen a lot of fighters grow, you know, since you've been a part of New Way. You know, obviously, you know, people like Savannah and Anthony, and now you know Sam's a budding amateur, Kamel. You know, how do you feel about your contribution to their careers? Because they all talk about you like very highly.
I'm very proud to be part of their journey for sure. I love to be as helpful to everyone as possible. As to getting in the ring when I can. I haven't been as often lately, but just being motivating when I can. What do they need? What can I help them with? Giving tips and tricks to know what the knowledge that I know. I'm more about the basic techniques and details of things, whereas Bobby can get more elaborate, on things. But I'm there for the basics. Keep your hands up. Pivot. All the mechanical aspects. As I love the mechanics of the body, getting into doing all the personal training that I do and the strength and conditioning. I love how the body works, the mechanics of it. So I love to take that portion and apply the body mechanics into the training, into the conditioning, fast twitch muscle work, firing off the certain muscles that you need for that explosive lateral movement, frontward movement. So I love having hands in their training, their conditioning and strength training. I love to help them recover. I'm a big advocate of recovery.
Yeah.
Being that if your body can move freely and stay more mobile, then you're going to be a better athlete. So I love having my hands in anywhere I can, and then in the back scenes on fight day, I love being there to wrap their hands, making them feel comfortable, helping them breathe. So I love every aspect of being a part of their journey.
Yeah, so
immensely.
You touched on the recovery side, which I think is a part of the fight game that most people don't look at.
Yes.
Right? It's important for every fighter after a fight to take that time to, because you're breaking down your body for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yes, absolutely.
How do you feel having that background? How do you feel that helps your fighters here at New Way?
I think it helps greatly. I think everyone has been. It took everyone a minute, a while to realize that recovery was important.
Yeah.
And then until they started, shoulders really bad, hip flexors really bad, and then I started hey, I can help you, and then finally, a couple people started, all right, what do I got to do? Because this sucks, right?
Yeah.
So once they started to see the benefits, then it started to catch on, and more people are starting to see all right, Izzy, how can you help me? Now I'm kind of like the gym recovery mom
Yeah.
because everyone will come to me with their problem, and 9 times out of 10 I can help them.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'll refer them to our chiropractor friends and whatnot. But yeah, it's growing for sure. Recovery is becoming more important. I'm noticing not just here but outside in the outside world.
Yeah.
Recovery is talked about a lot more. When we're coaches for Detroit Golden Gloves, the nationals team, everyone started to catch on that how important the recovery was, right? Because you're fighting 4 or 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
And if you're too locked up, then you're not going to be able to perform to your best performance. Everyone started to catch on. So nationals, I'm very busy with scraping and recovery. I basically make myself on call of whatever the team needs. And then they started to see it would catch on so much that they started to take on recovery and mobility outside of that. And a couple people would come up to me and say, I just wanted to let you know, I actually have started to do more recovery, more mobility because of what I've seen you do to us and how you help us. So it's definitely, recovery is becoming more important. Everyone's seeing the benefits. They're performing at their highest now.
Well, you got to treat, especially if you're going to do this, as a professional or even as an amateur, your body is your machine, and you got to keep it, there's maintenance to do to it, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's, you see a lot with the younger guys in the sport. It feels like one day nobody did it, then the next day everybody does it.
Yeah.
So it's good to see, the local amateurs taking exception to you and wanting to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Should bode well for the future of Detroit boxing.
Yes.
So you also touched on you coach jiu-jitsu also. What kind of got you started with that, and how do you switch roles between a boxing coach to a jiu-jitsu coach?
Yeah. That honestly can be pretty tough to make that little switch. But I got into jiu-jitsu because, my husband Bobby, he started, and I was kind of like left at home, like do. He's like, why don't you just come and try jiu-jitsu? So I'm always that person. I'll try something once unless it has to do with heights or roller coasters. I won't do it.
Yeah.
But everything else, I'll try it once and see what I think. So I tried it, and I was like, I'm not sure. This is really outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Way too close to people, sweating on people, So I didn't think it was for me. He's like, just try to stick to it a little bit longer. So I did, and then I'm like, I don't think this is for me. I quit. Then he talks me back into it when we have our own gym. And then, so again, I tried it for a little bit, and I'm like, dude, I don't think this is for me. Like, being squashed, sweating on people. I'm smaller than everyone, so it just didn't feel good. And, then I found out later, it's all about technique. But then finally going to enough tournaments, watching everyone, just kick butt on the mats, I'm like, I want to compete at something.
Yeah.
And at the time, boxing wasn't an option because of that vestibular issue. So I'm like, it's got to be jiu-jitsu. So I decided to get over it and get outside of my comfort zone. And I was like, you know what? If I'm that uncomfortable at it, that means that I have to do it.
Yeah.
So then I put my mind to it. I competed a month later, and it was all uphill from there. I wasn't expecting at that point, once I competed, that made me fall like more in love with it.
Right.
I started to see how the technique applied correctly, hitting all your details, just didn't matter if you're a smaller or bigger person. Hitting all your details is the key. And I started to see like that was very encouraging. That's not the word I'm looking for, but very, very motivating to me. Like when I seen that I could sweep a bigger guy or choke a bigger guy out, I was like, what else can I learn?
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it kind of gives you that thrill, right?
Yes.
Like, you didn't think you could do it.
Right, yeah.
And
that's the neat thing about it, like, doesn't matter how small you are, applying the correct technique, you can submit someone much bigger than you and with the details.
Well, if you look at how jiu-jitsu like hit the map with like Hoist Gracie in the early UFCs, just fighting 300-pound dudes and just choking them out at will, basically, it's something that we talked about off camera, that if I ever have a daughter, that's the first martial art I would want her to get into, just so she can learn how to overpower a heavier opponent.
Yes.
So jiu-jitsu's always been something that I've always like wanted to try secretly, but I just never committed to it. Maybe that's something me and you'll talk about outside off camera. But so do you still compete in jiu-jitsu today?
So I'm actually competing August 3rd. It's been a while. It was prior to COVID that I last competed, just because after COVID, things kind of like went fast, there was a lot of changes.
You and Bobby are two of the most busiest people I've ever met, so I understand.
Yeah, so there was a lot. That was a crazy couple of years after that. A lot of changes were made for the better, and just didn't get to focus on it, and I had thought I was going to compete here and there, and then again, things just came up, life happened, and didn't get to. But no excuses. I'm already signed up for one in August, doing kind of a super fight at another gym. So I'm excited because it's been a while since I've had something to get ready for.
Yeah.
So my mindset is on point. I'm focused. I'm ready to compete again, and I'm super excited to get back in the circuit.
So heading into the competition, like how, like because you train your own classes. Who trains you through like going through your?
So I reach out to whoever I can. Like, so Bobby helps me a lot. Sunshine, we're training partners a lot. My buddy Pete, he helps me a lot. And I talk to a lot of our other instructors, and I'm just absorbing all that I can from everyone, because I'm a big advocate of learn from everyone. So I might learn some things that I seen something cool from a white belt to a blue belt, purple belt, brown belt. I love learning from everyone, because those are the ones that they're learning all the cool new techniques that are out there, and they know all the cool new names, and I don't really. It's hard to keep up with that stuff,
right.
Keeping as busy as we are. So I get to learn some things from them, and I tell everyone you should learn from everyone. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm learning from as many people as I can, training with as many bodies as I can, while I'm in between classes and clients. So
Yeah.
I'm just managing the best I can.
The cool thing I think about New Way is that, like, we were talking with Bobby and Nancy about, is just that everyone that fights also becomes a trainer.
Yes.
And that they also have like different styles.
Yes.
They all have their own like little unique twist, and it seems like it's a welcome thing with Bobby and yourself.
Yes.
So that's like that kind of getting a little bit of knowledge from everybody. That kind of goes hand in hand with how you guys handle the gym.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Is that something you guys like think about? Like, actually, is that like a conscious thing, or is that something you think just happens naturally?
I think that's something that just happened naturally as they started to see us learning from others too. As we're very open to, like, we're not just like when we at first opened New Way, we weren't looking to technically teach people, right? We wanted to share our knowledge, sure, but we had opened it as basically a place to, like, get to train with our friends and learn from each other. And that's something that maybe at some point gotten away from us. And as we're making new changes again, heading towards a direction that we really want to get back to our old school roots and thought processes, I think that it's just naturally happening because they see us learning from others too, and not just like we're not just like the end all see all. We're still learning from everyone else too. So I think they see that, and we welcome it because we got to take some things off of our plate sometimes too. So
yeah. So you kind of like made your own employees. You kind of brought them in, trained them, and then said, all right, you take this section, you take this section.
Yeah, and it just kind of naturally happened because they enjoy helping each other too. So
I can tell.
Yeah, and then so like the coolest thing Bobby and I were just talking about was, so it's not just like we don't just assume that we're everyone's corner in a boxing fight.
Right.
We let everyone pick each other or pick others who they want in their corner, right? So yeah, usually me or Bobby or both of us are in the corner, but usually one of the boxers will pick one of the other boxers to be their corner, which is a neat thing we're really loving because they're training with each other, right? They can see what each other is doing, so they can kind of be there as the backup of, like, stopping their habits, like, don't fix this, fix that, that's what you're used to doing, so they can be hands-on with their cornering as well in that way, because they know what they do, they experience what they do from the live sparring with each other. So we think that's a really cool thing that's happening.
They know each other's like weaknesses and strengths because they see each other every day.
Exactly.
I thought it was cool. When we were at the Golden Gloves this year, I saw Savannah in corners, Anthony, Kamel. It just seems like they do really, and the kids are really responding to them and how they train.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a good moving forward for you guys. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yes.
So we touched on the fighters. I want to focus on like two of them specifically. So you've seen Savannah from start to now she's 2-0 as a pro. Sam Marinelli has come up through the amateurs very nicely. How does it feel to guide those young women in their boxing career? Because like up until like 10 years ago, women's boxing was kind of not thought about, and now it's kind of, especially locally with Clarissa Shields, Alicia Baumgartner, girls like Savannah. So how does it feel to kind of like guide them through their careers?
I think I don't think of me as guiding them per se, but I do love, like, so of course I'm an advocate for all women doing some kind of training, right? So empowering yourself, and I hate to say that too, but it's important for women to feel like they can handle themselves in any situation, and I think that it's been awesome, like, watching them progress, from like the beginning, their challenges in training and everything, and then now just kind of moving up into doing what it takes to move on into the level that they want to hit, right? I think it's amazing to watch women come up in this and make names for themselves too, like That's where I'm gonna start fumbling.
Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah. So like in your classes, are you seeing like a lot more younger girls? I mean, I saw a class you did. You had 4 girls, and was it a jiu-jitsu class you had today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, how do you think that? Like, do you think that's the rise of women in these combat sports, or do you think it's just you guys getting your name out there? Like, what do you think attracts the like younger girls to the sport?
So attracting it's tough to get girls to do these sports, right? To do these combat sports. So it takes like that opening that door, right? So I will constantly give like nice little nudges to all the ladies I know, like, you're great at this. You would be great at boxing. You're great. You move great like this. You're flexible. You'd be great at jiu-jitsu. So I encourage for the ladies to come in. I'm like, come and train with me. Let's just play around with it and see what you think. Like the group of ladies I had today, we did jiu-jitsu, and they were all dabbling with the idea. It was Natalie, our nutritionist. She had a couple girls that were interested in learning it, and she was thinking about it. So we had made a date to kind of play around with the technique, and I'm like, come in and we'll learn some basics, some fundamental movements, and then I'm going to show you some cool things and make you think, if you like it, make you think, do you like it or do you not like it? And so we did some fun things and cool guard breaks and some fundamental movements, animal crawls and the shrimps, and they really enjoyed it. They said because it got them out of their comfort zone, which I love to hear, because again, that's what I had said, of like, I had to get out of my comfort zone and get to know it and get comfortable with it. And that's exactly what they said. They're like, we like it because it makes us uncomfortable, but it's also different and gets our body moving different. So I think, just kind of creating that opening for women to come and try it, that's what makes it stick. I never try to like force anyone to like, you should do it, you should stick to it, like, if you try it and you don't like it, it's not for everyone, right? Yeah. But I think for sure there's more women out there and people in general that would like it if they just tried it.
They just tried it. Yeah. And I think it's like that's the hardest part, like you said, is getting them to come in for that first class.
Yes.
And I feel like after that, we talked about this a little bit off camera, it's just like, it's a great workout, but you're learning a skill also. Self-defense is a skill that I think everyone should have a little bit of.
Yes.
And I think, with you guys offering different, Bobby talked about the judo classes and the, I forget the kickboxing classes that he has. I just think any form of self-defense is helpful. That it's beneficial to anybody. Men, women, and it doesn't matter. So I think that's a good thing you guys are doing for the community around here. As a coach, how do you feel the response has been? To like women in the boxing classes or in the jiu-jitsu classes. You feel like it's been a pretty good response.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think it's ever been an issue. When we have women in any of the classes, it's never a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's cool if we can. For me, I'm like, yes, women on the mats, women on the bags. Like, that's awesome for me. I love to see more of that. And from everyone else, like, yeah, it's cool. Like, yeah, we got girls, we got guys. Like we got this awesome family.
Yeah, like, we touched on with all the other interviews with your gym, it's just like a big family here.
Yes.
You guys got a beautiful new spot. Come check them out in Clinton Township here. We thank you for your time, Izzy.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
Izzy, I do have one question for you. I'm going to stand up here so you're looking at the camera. I asked this to Savannah, and she loved this question, so I thought you're perfect to ask it to as well. What would you tell a young girl who's showing interest in it, but is being told from whether it's boys at school or boys in their life, combat sports are a boys thing?
Yeah, that makes me mad. Straight
up.
What
would you say to her, though, to encourage her to come in and just...
I would say, first off, you have to do what you want to do for yourself, right? You don't have to listen to what other people say. Of course, people are going to down talk everything like that, There are still guys in this world that say that women don't belong in combat sports, and that's crap, because every person should feel like you can take care of yourself in situations, right? If you're learning combat sports just as a hobby, that's awesome, and you're going to learn empowerment from it too. You're going to learn techniques. There's so many great aspects to it. If you're learning it to fight, then and that's what you want to do, then you just do what you want to do. Do you, right? Don't listen to anyone else.
Awesome, I love that.
I think the biggest thing just with combat sports in general, men and women, is that like everyone looks at it and you're like, oh, you're trying to fight in the UFC, or you're trying to be like a world champion boxer. Like that's less than 1% of the world does that.
Right.
It's not everybody has to compete. It's just can be a good skill to learn.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Something that you hope you never have to use, but you got it in case you need it.
Right, yeah. And there are some people that do it just for that outlet, you know, because they don't know how else to deal with their emotions. They don't know how to deal with their anger. And combat sports is a great way to channel that and to turn it into something better.
Yeah.
Too.
And I remember I trained at Dynamic with Coach Chad, and every Saturday there'd be a guy, and he was like this. He was just he looked like a nerd. You know what I mean? And he'd come and every Saturday he'd hit the bag for a couple hours. He'd get in there and spar with us. And he's like, I'm like, man, like, what are you? I was 14, 15. I was dumb at the time. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're not gonna fight. He's like, if I don't do this every week, I'm a different person. And that was he would only come in Saturday for a couple hours. And he's like, if I'm stressed out of my mind, my wife tells me I need to go to the gym. You know, all he's like, it's just a good place to get my stuff out, like my anger out.
Yes.
In a controlled way.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it makes me a better person.
Yes.
So if a 2-hour workout one day a week can do that to somebody. What can 3 or 4 days do?
Right. It can change you as a human being in general.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Thank you too. Thank you too.
All right.
That was super fun. Yeah, that was.
You did awesome.
You made that easy.
No. I just added questions. You don't worry.